What is good? What is happening, everyone? Namaste. Greetings, blessings, and love to everyone. You were listening to Technetic Beats in the background there. An excellent DJ, excellent music producer, very helpful. Feel free to check out their channel. Just an excellent myriad of content can be found. If you need any help with anything musical, I would definitely suggest checking out Technetic Beats. Apologies from my absence from YouTube. Of course, many people know we had a lot of pretty substantial flooding in my area. The water made everything difficult. Then, of course, now I can't even turn my head to the left or right. I damaged a nerve in my neck in a car accident years ago, and there are times where I don't know, for lack of a better way of putting it, it acts up. Makes it pretty difficult to do anything. So although there's a lot been going on here on the farm, I've not really had the physical resource, stamina, ambition, drive, determination to get on live and really talk about anything. Nor have I really uploaded very many videos in the last 8 days. Apologies. You know, I figured if I had something worth sharing, I would do so. But to get on here and just waste my time, waste your time, it's just not productive, and I didn't want to do that. But all that aside, I am happy to be here. I am happy to, you know, like we're looking at a video in the background here. This is a seedling tray that I'm pretty proud of. Some of you may have watched the live stream, I don't know, a couple weeks ago when I started this tray. That first tray we're looking at now, it's the coxcombs. But that first tray, which you'll notice is some little red plants in it, and they refer to that as a red garnet. Now, you know, it's a flower. You eat the flower. It is considered an herb. It's a new addition in the bunch of type of plants that I like to grow to kind of encourage, not just because they're aesthetically pleasing, not just because they look good, but oftentimes when you have plants that are cosmetically attractive or are fragrant or a combination of the two, those are really good for attracting your pollinators, your bees, your butterflies, your hummingbirds. And the last couple years, I keep thinking that attracting pollinators naturally, or doing more of an effort to do so, would actually increase the yields on now some, like my tomatoes. I'll get out there with my little electric toothbrush and I will try to encourage pollination myself as much as I can. But then there's some that I'm just not really the best at it yet, like your cucumbers, your squashes, zucchini, and some of the other plants that we grow here. My thought, my theory, my logic is that I live in the middle of the woods. What better of a place to be able to attract natural pollinators? Or at least that's my idea. Dog's over here going crazy. Let me see who I've got. Who was in chat? Crystal MacArthur. Thank you for being here, friend. Yeah, they say that nerve is your... I'm probably mispronouncing it. Trapezium? Trapezial? I don't know. They've toyed with the idea of doing surgery, but it's been my experience in talking with others that wasn't the way to go. You love lavender, hibiscus, sunflowers, and roses. I've got a pretty substantial rose bushes. I've got one rose bush that's it goes 25 yards up the side of a hill. It was I was told it was natural, that it was wild roses. But my hunch is that although in modern times we call it wild, they were actually intentionally planted years ago. Go lay down, dog. This dog's being kind of wild. I have to lock her up here in a minute. Otherwise she'll get and start knocking stuff around. That's what she typically does. I also have expanded my chicken flock this year. Let me see if I can pull up a video of that. That was pretty wild. Let's see here. Looking at my desktop for a minute. Because I do want to show some of these other plants as well. Alright, source. Yeah, this dog's being wild, folks. I'm looking for a video. Apologies, this is taking me just a second to find it. I've got all these on the popped up here. Oh, that should be it right here, I believe. Oh yeah, there we go. I did expand the flock this year, and what you're noticing, I did get some silver lace red wanderettes. I did get a couple buff Orpingtons. I did get some white Brahmas. And what the heck was them others? I don't know. Anyway, I expanded my flock. I did get an additional 4 separate breeds. I'm still hopeful that I'll find some black copper marins, but currently in my area they're just not available right now. I have to do something with this dog, folks. Apologies. Come on, go outside. Go outside. There you go. Go outside. Run around. Let the dog run outside. Hopefully she'll be back some point this afternoon. Track hounds do like to run. They like to stay gone for a while. That's their thing. There's not really much you can do about it. It's a lot easier to let them run than to just deal with it. Northern Trail Dog is in chat. Cheers, friend. Hello. Thank you for being here. Gray Dude. Small Tubes. What is good, everyone? What is good? I hope everyone's doing well. I'm kind of not liking how behind I am this year with regards to weather. It's got my crop situation. Now, yes, granted, I am still probably months ahead of the locals. I usually try to stay a month to 3 months ahead of my local community. I mean, I don't want to do what everybody else does. I want to do it better. I want to do it bigger. And I want to do it for a more righteous reason. Now, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just saying, you know, anything that you do, devote 110%. You know, if you're going to fuck up, really fuck up. But at the same time, if you're going to do good, you put all into it. And, you know, it started years ago. Everybody said, well, my God, how is it that you get them there tomatoes and you're eating tomatoes in April? And we can't even eat tomatoes until July or August. I'm like, well, dude, what was you doing out in January? Oh, I wasn't doing shit. It's too cold. I don't get out of the house in January. You're crazy? And that's when I shine. Because I'm like, well, in January, I was out with fucking picks and shit getting my compost from the previous year ready to use it to amend my soil from last year, bringing it into the house, letting my soil heat up in buckets in my bedroom so that I could get my tomatoes started in January, so that come April When you're going to your local Walmart and you're buying your GMO shitty fucking Bonnie Ray or whatever fucking kind of plants you're getting, tomato from the box store, my organic GMO non-hybrid tomatoes are already flowering. I do it that way because I can. And this year it's just not happening. I don't even have my tomato seeds started yet. What are we talking about in chat? Your Callahula's like that. I had a Callahula. I lived in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. She was I had a Callahula cur. Ooh, look her. I use them for hogs down there. In other parts of the country, they use them for other things. Ducks are nice. We had ducks. I had Peking ducks. And just when my ducks started producing eggs, coyotes got my ducks. I hadn't been on here in a while, so I don't really have an organized, planned, and or scheduled format for this live stream. I just want to let everybody know I'm alive and that things are going well. Give everybody an update, you know, just some of the going-ons around here. I did recently get another camera, so hopefully no, I haven't replaced my GoPro yet. I did pick up I got a pretty good deal on a 16 megapixel Canon, just a point and shoot digital camera, so I can hopefully get some better still photos of some of the stuff that's going on. I usually will publish all of that to my Instagram, and that's about the only time I use the Instagram. Sometimes Facebook. But we've just been behind here. We've not really gotten... I have gotten peppers started. I've gotten a lot of my greens started. Those peppers, that's the autumn bell peppers you see on your screen on the right. Those were excellent. Of all the bell peppers that I did last year, I believe the autumn bells were probably the highest yielder, and they taste the best. Not the best of every pepper that I've had, but of the varieties that I grew out last year, they're very well. We are I got quite a bit of compost that I need to go ahead and get dressed. I top dressed all of my beds just as winter ends and we get moving into spring. What I like to do is I always keep a layer of leaves on top of all my beds. You enjoy your hot date at the park, Crystal MacArthur, and thank you for being here, friend. I like to take and dress all of my beds through the winter with leaves. Not only does it save me from having to rake, bag, and or dispose of those particular leaves, they do break down some. The chickens will get in there and they'll scratch around because I'll let the chickens free range. And then what I do is I leave that alone through winter. And just before spring, or just at the beginning of spring, I take my fresh compost from the previous year. See, the previous year I work all year and I make this compost. Well then now this compost at the beginning of the next year is what I top dress all of my beds. And I'll go on top of the beds about 3 to 4 inches deep. In case any of you don't remember, I do utilize a few Korean natural farming methods, but the beds themselves are a hugelkultur styled raised bed. Anyway, just so you know. Now, once I've got that compost about 3 to 4 inches deep, I'll water it down really good, and I'll lightly dust the top layer with soil. And I'll plant, when I plant, I'll plant directly into that. When I first initially started doing it that way, what was happening was I used too much compost foremost. That made it too hot. Then I tried using less compost, and it was still too hot. And what I found was that I wasn't letting my compost age long enough. And when I got to the point where, and I really didn't do nothing, I just let the compost. Now I do really work a lot on my compost. I mean, I might turn it over 3 and 4 times in a month. I mean, and this is like all the time. But other than that and the additives, I don't really do much to it. I just leave it alone. But I found what was more important than what I did or did not do to the compost was the amount of time that I allowed it to age prior to use. And what I found was that given enough time, no matter what your compost consists of, if you allow it to go and just let nature take its course for a long enough time, that compost is going to be usable. And within reason, you shouldn't really have any issues. Now, if you use, let's say you use a lot of like, I don't know, maybe it's got pine needles in it. Or maybe it's got pine bark in it, as opposed to some other things, then it's going to be slightly acidic, and in which case you're probably going to want to introduce a little bit of lime to it when you first lay it on your beds, or at least that's what I've done in the past. But for the most part, it's excellent. It's excellent, you know. And as each year goes forward, you're losing a little bit of your grow medium anyway. Your plants are consuming it, it's settling, and you're going to lose some. So every year you're going to have to add back to compensate for what you've lost. And when you think about a true living organic situation, when you've got the use of all of your microbes, both your aerobic, meaning they grow in the presence of oxygen, and your anaerobic microbes, which grow in places where there is no oxygen. That's a trippy subject. Oh, that is a trippy subject right there. You got to figure that if you get down, say, 6, 8 inches into your soil, into your whatever your medium is, not only is there no oxygen, but there's no light. And you've got living organisms that they have functions to fulfill. They have jobs. They have things that they do. And what I try to do is grow in such a way to where both of these natural levels are emphasized. Well, thank you for being here, Northern Trail Dog. I hope you have an excellent day. Thank you for being here, friend. When you get your soil right, and you get your mediums right, you don't have any problems. A lot of this stuff works out for the way nature intended it. Back to starting your plants earlier. And that's what inadvertently, I keep dropping that damn mouse. I can't hold on to it to save my life. I'm having a blonde moment. But anyway, you can start, when you do above ground, when you're in your raised beds, I find that they get warmer faster after your frost, and as your spring goes, I find that they usually heat up a good 20% sooner than the ground surrounding the beds. And I feel there's a couple variables which impact that. The depth of the grow medium, of course. The height over top of the surrounding ground, and just a general composition of the medium. You know what's in it because you're putting everything that's in it, which allows you to tweak and finesse certain other aspects of that medium. But anyway, folks, I'm not going to stay on here long. I do have some work to do today. I did want to come in here and tell everybody that I was back, that I am going to be putting out some videos here over the course of the next few days. If there's any specific topic of discussion that anyone needs or wants, or just, you know, has questions about, seeks out info and knowledge on. I don't care whether it's exoteric, esoteric, the occult, botany, mycology, anything you want to know, you know, let me help you. Help me help you. What can I teach you? What can I go out into this world and learn about so that I am better equipped to teach you something about it? What can I do to help you? As always, much love, everyone. Try to be safe. Try to be productive. But most importantly is getting to know thyself. Because once you know thyself, you're able to love thyself. And once you can love thyself, then you can go out here and you can love me, and you can love everybody else around you. But it all starts with, like the late Michael Jackson said, the man in the mirror. It all starts with the man in the mirror. On that note, folks, I'm going to go play with my little baby chickens and eat me some fresh grown food. Jarred last year. Much love, everyone.